Well, it's 2026. Time for our January garden update, and I'm here for it. Happy New Year. We added some Carolina jessamine on the trellis here, which will also create more shade. This is just getting ready to flower, and it gets these lovely trumpet-like yellow flowers that open up and are fragrant, attractors of hummingbirds. It's one of my favorite vining species, mainly because it blooms in winter when there's not a lot going on and when the migratory species are here overwintering. It's also toxic to European honeybees. Exotic bees, European honeybees, in lots of research are driving declines of native bees. There are lots of studies out showing that. There's pretty significant amounts of data supporting that. So I like that this vine is the great equalizer in our ecology and helping reduce the competition. And over here we added some coral honeysuckle, which winter is not typically its time to shine. But we do have a couple blooms here to show you. Coral honeysuckle, Lonoceros sempervirens, is the hummingbird moth's host plant. The fruits are devoured and sought after by cardinals. I've seen them patrolling my vine in my previous yard. It's also just a great drought tolerant, fairly well behaved for a vine. It's still a vine. Species to add to your yard. Oh, I didn't even notice these blooms up here. But yeah, this is a great hummingbird attractor. Hummingbirds love to sip nectar on this species, like firebush and some of the other red-flowered species. It's just a great hummingbird attractor. So yeah, you can see it's kind of infiltrated our trellis. It's starting to bloom. These have been in the ground probably 3 to 6 months. The Jamaican caper, as you can see, I pruned it up last month to shape it a little bit, make it a little more tree form, removing the lower branches as it's been in the ground a year now and well beyond transplant shock. That's about the time I like to start doing any sort of intensive pruning, after something's well established in the ground for a year. Before that, you're just adding more shock and strain on the plant. You can see the dwarf saltbush here. It's filled in nicely. I've pruned that up a little bit as well, maybe about a month ago, to shape it a little bit and contain it from getting too sideways or growing horizontally to overwhelm that size space. Here we have the blue porterweed, which is finally starting to put out some significant blooms. I was kind of surprised at how long that process really took. Probably a little bit too big for this space. It probably needs a couple more feet really to be a happy plant and low maintenance. But and then back here we still have the blue stem prickly poppy, which is kind of an annual wildflower here with white blossoms and yellow centers. Kind of spectacular. Those were just seeds I threw in the ground here. That's how easy that one is to establish in your yard. And we do have seeds in the web store. This is Melanthera parvifolia, small leaf square stem, which does have a particularly different looking leaf structure than the other species of Melanthera. And I like this one because it's really short. I mean, they all seem to grow sideways and swallow anything smaller than it as a neighbor. But this is the shortest that I've found so far of the 3 that I've seen in cultivation. Over here we have some snowy milkweed. It's got some flower buds on it. It's getting ready to bloom. Like I said, Asclepias perennis, easiest native species. It's a wetland species, but it handles drought very well, and it blooms most profusely of all the species. Pretty much blooms and seeds all year long, so functions as a great nectar plant if you're into milkweed as a nectar source, which is primarily why I'm here. That and the aphid food web cycles, which you can also see in one of my other videos posted in the beginning of when I started making videos. Back here we added a starry rosin flower, and that bloomed a week ago. You can see the flower petals down there have fallen off. This was probably planted about 2 to 3 months ago, so it's probably just now getting well established. And here we added some kidney leaf rosin flower, which is coming back way early from dormancy. These typically go dormant until the spring up in North Florida, where they're found and native. That is Silphium compositum. You can see the old spent flower spike here. And here we added one lance leaf tick seed, which has reseeded all over the place, and I love it. I'm here for it. Then they're popping. Lots of blooms in the wintertime. I mean, look at all those spent flower buds. Over here we added a flatwood sunflower, Helianthus carnosus. This is an endangered North Florida, found around the Jacksonville east of the St. Johns River habitat species. They bloom year-round for me. They're a clumping form of sunflower, unlike, say, dune sunflower, which spreads aggressively via seeds and vegetation. Lakeside, or flatwoods, as I prefer to call it, sunflower, is a full sun, drought-tolerant species, and clumps, does not spread by roots. So I find it spectacular for, normally landscape preferences where you want plants to stay in their place and behave. Just had a big flush of blooms on the cutleaf coneflower. That's Rudbeckia laciniata. And again, tick seed, coneflowers, sunflowers, all keystone genus species. I'm not so sure about the Silphiums, Asteriscus and compositum, or starry rosin flower, kidney leaf rosin flower. Over here we freshly added, maybe a month ago, some Stokes aster, just for some color and pretty blooms. The Florida green eyes, which is endemic, only found in Florida, has a nice chocolate fragrance first thing in the morning, but blooms profusely year-round. This is a very drought-tolerant, dry site species. There's another cutleaf coneflower here. Some, again, that's Rudbeckia laciniata, and you can see that one's starting to flower, creating a nice flower bud. Over here we've got some fairy hibiscus, Hibiscus popagii, which is an endangered South Florida species. Hibiscus, there are over 6 native species. They're all wetland species. Most of them require acidic soil. This is one of the outliers. They can handle very alkaline or basic or higher pH than 7 soils. It gets little red flowers, so this one is known to be a hummingbird attractor, which excites me. So hibiscus, most of the other ones are much larger. This one gets 1 to 3 feet tall. It'll grow in shade. It does reseed and volunteer heavily. This is a volunteer from a previous plant. I moved out of this zone. But we also have seeds of that available on the website. Here we have some wild petunia. If you go back to our first video and see how deathly that plant looked that I planted, you'd be shocked at how much it spreads. Back here you can see a Solidago stricta wand or slender goldenrod specimen. That's been in the ground maybe a month. It looks like it's just starting to put out some new vegetative growth, so I think it's close to established, but we're probably not going to see a lot of blooms from it this year. Another dwarf salt bush here, and if you look behind it here, we have a volunteer of some Salvia serratina. This just popped up all on its own. The seed pods, they're not prickly in any way, but they do stick to your fur and clothes, so it tends to move itself around a lot. They get about 2 feet tall. They do well in shade, partial shade.